This is an advanced video on how to get rid of any food intolerance. Yes, and I mean you could be eating dairy, gluten, pastries, croissants, bread, any type of bread. And just after watching this video, honestly, just watching this video can completely get rid of these food intolerances. It's actually very simple. So, what got rid of my food intolerances, well, what started my food intolerances was when I opened up the book, The Specific Carbohydrate Diet. I was dealing with a lot of diarrhea. I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease, but on paper you could have called it Crohn's, colitis, or IBS, candida, SIBO. I had all sorts of things going on with my gut, but I really didn't react to foods. Like my symptoms weren't that bad. But then I decided to treat it with diet when my medications didn't work. And I went on the specific carbohydrate diet. And literally for like 300 pages, it was starch bad. Starches are bad. Starches are the devil. Literally and then showing science, cherry pick science, I might add, over and over and over and over and over again. And by the end of that book, I was completely convinced that I was never going to eat a starch, for the rest of my life. And then, a couple of months, I felt a little bit better. I still looked like a skeleton. My social life got destroyed. I could not go out with friends and family because I literally did not have the self-control to keep myself away from croissants and pastries and pizza and toast and sandwiches. Like everything that tastes good has gluten in it. You're lying. You are lying to yourself. Come on, you are lying to yourself if you think differently or say differently. But my birthday came around, and then I had one crumb of cake. I'm not kidding you. I had one bite of cake, and I was sick. I was super, super sick, and that I had never experienced that before. So, and I struggled with this for a long time. I thought it was this food, then that food, then this food, and then the thing that completely stopped it was when I discovered something called German New Medicine. And so this was created by Dr. Hammer, and essentially he could look at your brain CT scan and know exactly what health conditions you had. And he concluded that all of these health conditions start after a traumatic event. And he go, oh, I can see in your brainstem right here, you have a sharp ring. Okay, you are conflict active for, Crohn's or colitis or, something. He could see it in your brain every single time. He could look at your CT scan and know. And that was enough evidence for me. That was believable enough for me to go, oh, wow, it's not caused by food. All food's safe. All food is safe. Now, so what were the things that created my food intolerances and reversed them? It was a memory. It was an experience. This thing right here, it's nothing but a collection of memories. What memory, maybe that's like the little floppy disk on your computer to hit the save button. What memory started the traumatic event? And then what memory do we need to put in to overwrite this old memory to cancel this out? For me, that was, learning the 5 biological laws of German New Medicine. And something else that I do in my 13-day protocol, I think on day like 2 or 3, I really just hit your brain. I go over the insanity of gluten intolerance. The other day I was talking to somebody, and they were from Ukraine, and they were Christian, and they were eating a piece of gluten-free bread. I was like, if you look up hypocrisy in the dictionary, this person's face is right there. On the Ukrainian flag, it's fields of blue, open skies blue, and then the bottom is yellow. And that stands for golden fields of wheat. It is in your blood. You are Ukrainian. It is in your blood to eat, sleep in wheat. Think about it. if you were in a wheat society, you use the wheat to make bedding. You use the wheat to make the house, the rooftop. You use the wheat to do all. You used it in everything. It kept your ancestors alive for generations after generations. It's approved in the Bible. It's called the staff of life in the Bible. And yet here you're referring to it as the devil just because you read a few books about somebody cherry picking, data saying gluten's bad for you. And the guy literally, this is what I do in my 13-day protocol. I dive deep into the history of the stupidity behind this gluten intolerance movement. Like literally this guy started it after World War II, and none of his science was concrete. None of his patients could follow the diet, during that time because there was no gluten-free products. You literally, in the majority of human history, because after World War II is when this global supply chain started and we could do these weird diets. But before that, if you could not eat the foods that were produced in your region, you would starve to death. You literally, it wasn't physically possible to do this gluten-free insanity until about maybe the 50s or the 70s. It just wasn't physically possible. But now today you are bombarded constantly. You have so many inputs of this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. Look at me. I got some degrees on my wall. It's bad, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad. Meanwhile, your friends and family are sitting right there at that table and they're eating it day after day after day after day after day after day after day, 5 times a day. And they are fine. They are healthier than you. You've been avoiding that food for years, and you're still not healthy. What I'm trying to do is to inject data and memories into your brain that overwrite this stupid belief. Now, what makes this belief so hard-coded for a lot of people, and I especially see this with people with colitis, is, people with Crohn's, it's usually in the small intestine, so they don't ever get to see a lot of blood in the toilet. Some people do, but usually when someone has colitis, they've had a traumatic experience of one day having that gut pain, running to the toilet, being scared out of their mind, and then they see blood fly out into the toilet. And that is a very traumatic experience, and it can do some very strange, because, if you're freaked out, your conscious mind's gone, and you look down and you see blood, and then you went, oh my God, it was my birthday yesterday and I ate gluten. The gluten did it. That can really hard code into you that's gluten's bad. And now what we need to do to overwrite that is kind of help you see hey, remember that one time you saw blood in the toilet for the first time, you freaked out? Yeah, you blamed it on gluten. You don't need to do that anymore. We need to overwrite this memory. And that's what I tend to do in my 13-day protocol is I'm giving you that foundation, teaching you German new medicine and what our brain is actually doing, so that this idea that energy and nutrients is bad for you it's just crazy. It's just crazy. It's literally crazy. So we need to overwrite that memory. You can do it directly, indirectly, subconsciously, and I don't know what piece of information your brain needs to hear. I don't know how many times you need to see me shove a croissant down my throat to tell you, to give you permission to let you know that that's okay. But if you're having violent reactions to certain food, chances are that food is somehow related to a powerful traumatic event that you are not consciously aware of, but subconsciously. And bringing that subconscious memory to your conscious awareness is how we fix it many of the times.